So, what if the most famous friendship in American literature was actually a performance?
A performance for survival.
Exactly. We're talking about James by Percival Everett, the Pulitzer Prize winner that reimagines Mark Twain's adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
But this time, it's entirely from the perspective of the enslaved man, Jim, or, as we get to know him, James.
Right. So here are the most compelling essential insights from the book. Just enough to illuminate the deeper meaning and, draw you into this remarkable literary journey.
The first thing you have to get your head around is just huge. It's this idea of code switching as survival.
Okay, so in Twain's novel, Jim comes across as, simple, superstitious.
Right. But Everett pulls back the curtain. He reveals that this is all a performance of ignorance, a conscious act. James is actually fully literate. He's incredibly articulate, but he uses what he calls slave talk as a deliberate mask to survive constant white surveillance.
And that mask is just terrifyingly real. There's this one scene that is just heavy, where James is teaching other enslaved children.
Including his own daughter, Lizzie.
His own daughter. He's teaching them how to use correct, incorrect grammar.
Think about that. He isn't teaching them to speak properly. He's teaching them how to perform ignorance, how to hide their intelligence.
It's a survival tactic.
It's a life-or-death linguistic shield, really. They have to practice making errors because sounding too smart could get them killed.
It's just this forced distortion of identity.
And that's just the first layer. But the real transformation happens when the character we thought was comic relief is the one telling the story.
That leads to the second insight, right? This idea of rewriting the canon.
Exactly. The moment you realize James is acting, the whole power dynamic on that raft it completely flips.
He's not just a passenger anymore.
Not at all. He's 27 years old. He's strategic. And you start to realize he's probably manipulating Huck's own desire for adventure to steer their entire journey.
And his inner life is so rich. I mean, while Huck is playing pirates, James is having these dream sequences.
Where he's debating philosophy with Voltaire.
Yeah. It's just mind-blowing. It shifts the whole book from a boy's adventure story to a man's strategic operation.
It's a perfect example of narrative justice. The story changes radically depending on whose voice you hear.
Okay, we need to take a quick pause here. This is Mindful Moments, our YouTube channel offering AI literary analysis, character insights, and thematic critiques, inspiring deeper reading and thoughtful reflection.
So, to really understand James's mind, his defiance, you have to look at what he's holding. This brings us to literacy as existential defiance.
A Faber pencil.
Yes. James steals a Faber pencil. And in this world, that's not just some petty theft. It's like he's stealing his own self back.
Because literacy for enslaved people was illegal. It was incredibly dangerous. So when he uses that pencil to write down his thoughts, and he says that line, "With my pencil, I wrote myself into being," that is not a metaphor.
Not at all. It's a profound act of rebellion. In a system designed to strip away your humanity, to turn you into property, the act of writing is the ultimate proof that you exist.
He's defining himself against a world that wants him to be a blank slate.
Which brings us to his motivation. This completely reframes the whole plot. Freedom as a collective duty.
Right, because we tend to think of Huck Finn's story as this freewheeling, escape down the river, an adventure.
But for James, it is not an adventure. He is on a deadline, a terrifying one.
He isn't just fleeing to the Free States for himself.
No. He is on a desperate, desperate mission to rescue his wife and his daughter before they're sold down the river to New Orleans, which was a near certain death sentence.
The stakes are just so much higher than we ever thought.
It completely reframes freedom. It's not about individual escape. It's about collective liberation. How can you be free if your family is still in bondage?
You can't be.
It really challenges the whole American definition of freedom from that era. And, it makes you wonder if James had to hide his brilliance to survive back then, what versions of that mask are people still forced to wear today just to find safe passage?
Start with our 5-minute essential insights, then dive into the in-depth analysis. Next, the summary, ending with the comprehensive critique.
Discover genre-based book podcasts at Mindful Moments. Subscribe and nourish your mind on the go.